Intro to Heroclix team building coming right up. Mr. Clicksflix is brought to you by Lucky Dice Cafe out of Huntsville, Alabama, home of the ROC. No matter if you're in the United States or around the world, Lucky Dice Cafe has the winning role for all your gaming needs. You can visit them at luckydicecafe.com or on their Facebook page using the link found in the description of this video. Alright guys, so we are starting a new series today. It's going to be a Patreon exclusive series called Heroclix 101, and it is going to be deep dives into the basics of Heroclix. So if you want to get in on all the videos after this one, stop on over at patreon.com/MrClicksflix and become a Patreon patron today. Today we are covering an acronym that's going to help you build better teams, especially starting off. The acronym is called STOPP LURCH. So as some of you may know, certain powers are better or worse than others in the game. Some are sort of universally good, others are good but in a niche sort of way, and the ones in this acronym are basically always good and there's never a bad time to have them. So let's go ahead and talk about it. So STOPP LURCH consists of the S stands for support, the T stands for telekinesis, the O stands for outwit, and the first P stands for perplex, and the second P stands for probability control. Then Lurch stands for leadership, U stands for you don't need this letter, R stands for running shot, C stands for charge, and H stands for hypersonic speed. Now, if you have all of those powers or some combination of those powers, you're well on your way to having a pretty decent little Heroclix team on your hand. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to put together a pseudo team right here on the spot, talk about each figure and the roles that they're able to fill utilizing the Lurch method. Alright, so first up on our police theme team using the STOPP LURCH method of Heroclix team building is Sheriff Steve Rogers. He has a trait and a special on his damage. His trait is called Showdown. When Sheriff Steve Rogers makes an attack and hits all targets, after resolution, roll a d6, 5 or 6, remove an action token from Sheriff Steve Rogers. So if we look at the STOPP LURCH method, that sort of mimics the power known as leadership, where he's able to remove an action token, except in this instance he's able to remove it from himself instead of an adjacent friendly character. And that's something you want to be mindful of too, is the STOPP LURCH method isn't hard and fast. It's basically if a figure permits you to increase or decrease a stat by 1 or 2 or whatever it is, consider that, you know, for in that example, as your perplex for the team. So as long as you have something that mimics those effects, you're good. And then his special on his damage is called No One is Above the Law, Leadership. When Sheriff Steve Rogers or an adjacent friendly character is attacked, the attacker cannot positively modify or replace their attack value. So this is something else also. So we have leadership here, which is good, so we're able to remove tokens from other figures on our theme team, but also we are denying our opponent part of STOPP LURCH. We're refusing to give them perplexes. They can't positively modify or replace their attack values. Normally, when something says they can't modify their attack values, there's not a replace clause. So this is actually a really powerful special on his damage, and that's on top of his police team ability, which also modifies stats on top of what he's already doing for you. Next up on the STOPP LURCH method, we have Thor, the common generic from Marvel Heroclix Secret Wars Battle World. He has a trait and a special on his movement. His trait is called Crack the Case. Once per turn, when an opposing character within 4 squares in line of fire make an attack, give Thor an evidence token. Free, remove 2 evidence tokens to make an attack. So nothing in that has anything to do with the STOPP LURCH method, but still it does allow a free attack, which is always good. Then the special on his movement is, here's your assignment for the day. At the beginning of the game, choose one: charge or running shot or willpower and empower. Thor can use the chosen powers while this power is displayed. So this is really cool here. This Thor actually brings a ton to the table. So as far as the STOPP LURCH method goes, he grants you charge or running shot which are the last parts of Lurch, or he has willpower and empower. And again, as we discussed with Sheriff Steve Rogers, anything that can modify stats, just consider that part of your perplex. So the empower makes it so that you can increase your damage +1 for close attacks, which is also really powerful. And then you put on top of that the PD team ability to modify stats even further. You can see where we're going with this. This is a really good figure for the Stop Lurch technique. And he also has the flight ability, which makes it so that he can transport. So far we've only seen Sheriff Steve Rogers, so for example he could carry him to maintain action economy. Next up on this police theme team for the Stop Lurch Heroclix team building strategy is Dino Thor, the super rare from Heroclix Secret Wars Battle World. He has 2 traits, a special on his damage. His first trait is Crack the Case, which is exactly the same as Thor, so he is able to make free attacks, which is always good. His other trait is Obstruction of Justice. When Dino Thor takes damage from an opposing character's attack, after resolution, Dino Thor can use Earthbound Neutralize until your opponent's next turn. So not really great there. Then the special on his damage is called Scales of Justice. Free, modify an adjacent opposing character's combat values -1 until your next turn. If you do, modify an adjacent friendly character's combat values +1 until your next turn. So again, utilizing the Stop Lurch method of team building, he's giving you -1 to an opponent's stats and +1 to your stats. So again, we're taking one of those P's for perplex there. And then when you look at his dial, he has hypersonic speed and charge for the first half of his dial, which makes it so that he's a very mobile attacker. And he has the PD team ability, which further modifies stats for Stop Lurch. This guy's just a really solid figure for this style of team building. And on top of all that, he does have the flight ability. So this was just a really good pick utilizing this method of team building. And the final character for this police theme team using the Stop Lurch method of team building is Thanos the Prime, number 7B from Marvel Heroclix Secret Wars Battle World. He has 3 traits and a special on his damage. His first trait is called Infiltrate the Cores. Stealth. During force construction, choose a generic keyword or the Battle World keyword. Thanos gains the chosen keyword. That's not really too important for Stop Lurch purposes, but it is really good to know that he is able to be on basically any generic theme team. So that's how this is still a police theme team with him. His other trait is Time to Stop My Duplicates and Reveal Myself. Free, deal 1 unavoidable damage to another friendly character that's adjacent to an opposing character. Once per turn, when a character of 25 points or more is KO'd by Thanos, give Thanos an infinity token. So again, nothing there that has to do with Stop Lurch. His third trait is 1 stone away from the infinite. Free, modify X different combat values by +2 until your next turn, where X is the number of infinity tokens. Now we got to where we need to go. So what this is able to do is he's able to increase his own stats by +2 for each character that he KOs, either via his Time to Stop My Duplicates and Reveal Myself trait, or that he just KOs regularly. So really cool there. You could in theory just have insane stats with this guy, and with the Stop Lurch technique, that satisfies the perplex requirement that goes with him. Then the special on his damage is called Travel Back in Time to Try Again. Probability control. When Thanos uses it to target an attack that would have hit Thanos and it misses him after all re-rolling, generate a 07A Thanos duplicate on click number 1 that appears after the orange KO. This game, it has a 0-point value for all game effects, including scoring. So probability control satisfies our probability control requirement of Stop Lurch, which is really good there. And then when you look at his dial, he does have running shot and charge all on his own, which are further requirements for Stop Lurch. So let's go ahead and get everybody together, talk about this, how this team works, and things that it's able to do since we maintained that particular style of team building. Alright, so the general idea of this team is to bump up your own stats while denying your opponent to increase any stats with Sheriff Steve Rogers. And as far as Stop Lurch goes, we have no support, we have no telekinesis, we have no outwit. We do have plenty of perplex. We have a way of probability control. We have a leadership, which is really good. We have a running shot, a charge, and we have a hypersonic speed. So we've satisfied well over half of the requirements, and I'd say once you start getting half, you have a really decent team on your hands. Now, obviously, there's some things that you can do to really maximize this team. I just wanted to showcase the Stop Lurch method of Heroclix team building. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, give it a share. It really helps keep me motivated to continue making these videos. If you really enjoyed it, please make sure to stop on over at patreon.com/MrClixFlix. Sign up for the $3 reward tier so that you can be part of these Heroclix 101 videos as they become available. I'm going to have at least once a month, but if it really starts picking up, there will be more than one video per month, and they're all going to be similar to this. Sometimes I'm going to take a look at a power and just do a deep dive with that. Some different things on basic Heroclix team building. It's really going to be good for anybody who's looking to just get into Heroclix or maybe just started but wants to get on the next level and become really competent with the game. That's all I have for you guys today. As always, please remember that it's only critical miss if you don't have probability control.